Most people buying a used S4, S5, or RS5 go by looks and the test drive. The things that actually matter are the ones neither of those reaches. My name is Marcus, 22 years at my own independent Audi shop. What these cars look like from the lift, what was maintained, and what was quietly skipped is something you cannot see until it is already a bill. This is the framework I use before putting money into any of them. 6 specific checks that a straightforward test drive will not surface, and the repair bills each one is designed to prevent. Subscribe now so you do not miss what comes next. I want to start here because the service history changes how you interpret everything else on this inspection. It is not just a record of what was done. It is a record of what the previous owner understood about what these cars actually need. The standard Audi maintenance schedule does not include DL501 S-tronic transmission fluid service. It does not include ZF 8-speed fluid service. It does not include carbon cleaning. An owner who followed the dealer service schedule and nothing more has a car with clean oil change records and several genuinely critical services that were never performed. The history looks complete. The maintenance has real gaps. When you are reviewing records on a used S4, S5, or RS5, oil changes are the baseline, not the ceiling. You are looking for transmission fluid service, carbon cleaning records. On supercharged B8 and B8.5 cars, any note about water pump, PCV, or supercharger service. On B9 platform cars, the build date matters. I will explain why shortly. A complete absence of records on a high-mileage car tells you to assume the critical services were never done and price accordingly. Selective records. Oil changes only, no transmission or drivetrain service across 70 or 80,000 miles, tell you the owner followed the schedule and stopped there. Both situations are manageable if you know what you are walking into before any money changes hands. A customer brought me a 2013 B8.5 S5 she was about to buy. 68,000 miles. Full dealer service records. Drove perfectly. No transmission fluid service in 7 years and 68,000 miles. Not a single entry anywhere in the file. I pulled the pan. Dark brown fluid, metallic debris on the magnet, internal filter that had never been touched. She bought the car and we serviced it immediately. The $350 transmission service was straightforward. A buyer who never checked for it would have discovered the problem in a different way at a higher cost. The EA837 Supercharged 3.0T is one of the most robust performance engines Audi built in this era. Past 150,000 miles on a well-maintained example is achievable. The issue is not the engine. The issue is what lives beneath the supercharger. On the B8 and B8.5 S4 and S5, the water pump, thermostat housing, and PCV valve all sit in the engine valley under the supercharger. Any service on those components requires the supercharger to come off first. That means meaningful labor every time. It also means a car with a water pump service on record almost certainly had the supercharger removed at some point. A detail worth confirming in the service notes, because the labor window when the supercharger is already off is the correct time to address multiple items together, not one at a time on separate visits. On early B8 production from 2009 and 2010, the original plastic water pump housing was covered under Audi campaigns on affected vehicles. ECS tuning and multiple specialist resources confirm the housing was later revised to metal. A car still running the original plastic housing is a car with a known failure point that the manufacturer acknowledged warranted correction. Ask whether that campaign work was completed. On a car where it is not documented, assume it has not been done. The second check is the supercharger snout. The Eaton Roots-type supercharger uses a torsional isolator inside the nose coupler, the component connecting the rotor assembly to the drive pulley. It wears over time and mileage. The sound, when it goes, is recognizable. A rattle or grinding from the front of the engine, most noticeable at idle, often described as a bag of marbles at low RPM that changes character as revs increase. Listen for it at idle with the bonnet open before the test drive. The snout can be rebuilt by an EA837 specialist without replacing the entire supercharger. Typically 4 to 6 hours of labor at a shop that knows this engine. A worn snout is a negotiating point at the right price. It is not automatically a reason to walk away, but it needs to be in the conversation before you agree on a number. The 500,000-mile Audi blueprint covers the full EA837 maintenance schedule. What these service visits bundle, what the labor implications look like, and what each item costs proactively versus reactively. The link is in the description. The B8 and B8.5 S4 and S5 used the DL501 7-speed wet dual-clutch S-tronic. So did the RS5 B8. This gearbox has a documented mechatronics failure history on early production cars, and it announces that failure with specific symptoms that appear before the damage becomes catastrophic, if you know what to test for. The mechatronics unit controls the hydraulic clutch operation. The two primary failure modes are heat-related circuit board failure and solenoid wear. On pre-2012 B8 cars, the failure rate was meaningfully higher than on the revised gearbox generation that arrived in the 2012 B8.5. The revised units are more reliable, but no DL501 is immune to deferred fluid service. And that is where most of the used market examples I see have been let down. 3 specific tests on the test drive. First, from a standstill, engage drive and accelerate gently. A healthy unit picks up cleanly with no drama. Any harshness, hesitation, or lurch in that first transition from rest is a transmission worth looking at more carefully. Second, at around 30 miles per hour in comfort mode, apply firm throttle and ask for a 2 or 3 gear step down. A healthy DL501 responds immediately and cleanly. A shudder on the downshift or a brief rev flare where the revs rise without the matching acceleration is a clutch pack warning sign. Third, slow parking maneuvers in a cold car. Significant hesitation or clunkiness at parking speed on a cold morning is not normal behavior for this gearbox. I had a customer bring in a 2011 S5 with the DL501 at 71,000 miles. The car drove acceptably well on the motorway. No obvious symptoms at speed. At low speed, it was a different story. Parking hesitation, a firm thud on initial engagement from rest. The fluid was dark, and the adaptation values through VCDS told the full picture. A DL501 specialist rebuilt the mechatronics unit and replaced the fluid. Total repair around $1,400. A full gearbox replacement at a dealership on that car would have started at $10,000. He caught it because someone tested the right things before the car completely failed. The DL501 is not fragile. It is a very capable gearbox when maintained. What it does not tolerate is missed service intervals compounded by the wrong diagnostic approach when symptoms start. Audi's maintenance schedule calls for first DL501 service at 35,000 miles, then every 40,000 miles after that. On a car with 70 or 80,000 miles and no transmission record, you are looking at a gearbox that has missed its first service by a significant margin. Before buying, get an independent VCDS scan of adaptation values from a specialist. The adaptation data and fluid condition together tell a story a test drive alone cannot fully surface. Both Blueprint Gumroad links are in the description. The ebook covers DL501 and ZF8 speed intervals, what each service includes, and the real cost differential between proactive service and reactive repair. The B8.5 S4 and S5 use the EA8393.0T turbocharged V6. The RS5 B9 uses the EA8392.9T. Same engine family, higher boost, 444 horsepower. Both platforms share specific concerns, and one of them is entirely determined by when the car was built. On early B9 production. Broadly, cars built before approximately August 2018, the roller rocker arm bearings used needle rollers that were undersized for the load demands of the EA839. Audi revised the design with a larger needle roller bearing in later production. The original bearings wear progressively. The symptom is a tick from the valve train that develops over time. Left unaddressed, the rockers can damage the camshaft, an expensive repair on any car, and significantly more so when camshaft replacement is part of the equation. This production date split is confirmed across Audi World forums, Rostec forum documentation, and by specialists working on these platforms regularly. If you are looking at a 2018 model year car and cannot confirm the build date, ask for the build sheet or decode the VIN number through Audi's own resources. A car built before the revision window deserves extra attention here. Ask directly whether the rocker arms have ever been inspected or updated. If not, factor that uncertainty into your purchase decision. Not a reason to walk away automatically, but something the price and condition need to reflect. The second concern on all B9 EA839 cars is the water pump. Unlike the EA837, the EA839 uses a mechanical water pump with a plastic impeller that is confirmed to separate from the shaft internally during failure. The consequence of internal separation is that coolant circulation stops without producing a visible external leak or a puddle under the car. The engine overheats without the warning signs a buyer typically checks for. New German Performance and multiple EA839 specialists describe this as one of the more common age-related failures on the platform, most seeing pump failures appearing between 60 and 90,000 miles. The RS5 2.9T runs the same cooling architecture at higher thermal load. Hard-driven cars can reach that repair sooner. On any B9 car past 50,000 miles, I am checking coolant level, coolant color, asking whether the pump has been replaced, and paying close attention to how the engine behaves as it first comes up to temperature. If the answer to the pump question is no, and the mileage is past 60,000, that service belongs in the purchase negotiation, not as a deal breaker, but as a cost that should be reflected in the price. Every S4, S5, and RS5 in this generation range, B8, B8.5, and B9, uses direct injection. Fuel enters directly into the combustion chamber. It never contacts the back of the intake valves. What accumulates on those valve faces instead is oil vapor from the crankcase ventilation system, baking onto the surface through heat cycles, cold starts, and stop-and-go use. The 4.2 V8 in the RS5 B8 is particularly noted by specialists for heavy accumulation at higher mileage. A high-revving, naturally aspirated direct injection engine, no vapor washing mechanism on the valve faces, often driven by people who use the power it produces. Carbon comes with the territory. Accumulation rate varies by platform and driving profile across the range, but the end result is consistent. Airflow restriction, quiet fuel trim compensation, and a gradual performance loss the driver rarely connects to a cause. On a B8 S4 or S5 past 65,000 miles with no carbon cleaning record, I begin factoring that service into the purchase. B9 platform cars past 55,000 miles with no record, same consideration. At an independent shop, walnut shell media blasting on these platforms typically runs between $700 and $1,000. When the intake manifold is off for that service, the PCV valve, manifold gasket, and injector Teflon seals belong in the same visit, not a separate return appointment at separate labor cost. A seller offering a pre-sale carbon clean as part of the deal is worth asking about. Confirm whether those additional items were included, or whether it was just the blast. This costs nothing and takes 5 minutes, and a number of buyers still skip it. Before buying any used S4, S5, or RS5, run the VIN number through nhtsa.gov. The recall database is free, public, and comprehensive. Early B8 S4 and S5 models had water pump and thermostat recall campaigns. A car with those recalls open has manufacturer-acknowledged unfinished work that is covered at no cost to the current owner. Knowing before you buy means scheduling it immediately, rather than discovering it after. The NHTSA check tells you about open recalls. A paid vehicle history report tells you what you are actually buying: the original build specification, the accident record, and the ownership sequence. Trim level, option packages, and prior incidents can all be misrepresented, and the vehicle history report is what confirms or contradicts what the seller is telling you. At the price these cars trade at in the used market, the cost of that report is the least expensive insurance on this entire list. The S4, S5, and RS5 represent genuine performance value in the current used market. The EA837 in the B8 cars, the revised EA837 in the B8.5, and the EA839 in the B9 generation all have the engineering foundation to go long distances. The issue is that most of the maintenance these platforms actually require does not appear on the standard service schedule, which means most used examples have been maintained to an interval that does not match what the cars need. Go in knowing what to check, what to ask for, and what each gap costs, and you are buying a known car. Go in based on how it looks and how it drives, and you are buying whatever comes with it. After 22 years of seeing how those surprises land, I know which approach I would take. Subscribe and drop the model, year, and mileage you are looking at in the comments. I read every one.